Welcome to One Sharp Sword, cutting through to what matters most. I'm your host, coach, and guide on this journey, Dr. P, Dr. Wayne Pernell. With me today, I have Bill Dunnion. He is the Chief Information Security Officer. I'm looking down at my notes to make sure I get it right. The CISO at a company called Mitel. Um, he's uh, he's got an amazing background, which is why I wanted to bring him here. I bring all kinds of leaders onto this program, and the leadership journey is kind of special. And Bill's got a special story to tell. You don't just wake up one day and go, "I'm going to be the Chief Information Security Officer," because when you started, you weren't there. That wasn't even a thing, was it? So, Bill, welcome to the program. Tell me a little about what it is, like Chief Information Security Officer. Talk to me, Bill Dunnion.
Excellent. Dr. P, I like that. I think that you may have a future in rapping and hip hop if you so if you so choose.
There you go.
Yeah, so Chief Information Security Officer, it sounds big and mighty, really once you're in it, it's kind of scary and daunting because I mean, this is in the world in today's world of cybercrime. Yeah, they don't tend to take holidays and weekends, so everybody's always under attack and there's always pressure. But yeah, it's
Great way to start there, Bill. Like
yeah,
everybody's under attack. It's like, okay, fear and mayhem and that
yeah.
is the truth though. Like without you doing what you do, we would all be very aware that we're under attack, and because you do what you do, it's sort of behind the scenes, and you're quarantining anything that comes up, right?
Fair enough. Yeah, it's I picked up along the way uh, an explanation about a good referee, and a good referee is somebody you don't notice on the court or the ice, and I think maybe the same thing applies in the world of security. If you don't know we're there, then we're doing a good job.
Nice.
But yeah, it's but you're right. There's on one hand the stress comes from the fear of the headlines, and and you can't really wake up or go a week without seeing a new headline of this person was attacked or this company was breached, and or getting the letter in the mail saying your information has now been shared with a lot of people that you didn't want it shared with.
Right.
So yeah, but it does make for a lot of interesting days, and yeah, at this point I wouldn't trade it for the world. But yeah, the journey here was definitely not a straight line, as I think it rarely is.
It rarely is. So let's talk about that a little bit because you're based in Ottawa right now,
That's right.
which is kind of cold and blustery at the time of this recording. Um, you started in product management and delivery and then moved into operations. But let's back up even before that. You're a kid in college or deciding to go to college and you go, let me go
Yeah.
into ops and management and delivery and like
Uh,
how did you even do that? Because
Uh, yeah, actually, it just made me think of a story. Yeah, I'm glad that I can still remember it, but with my hair and all. But yeah, so I was always good in maths and sciences, and so I remember talking to my parents' friends at the time, and they say, "Oh, you're good at maths and sciences. Well, you want to be an engineer?" And I actually remember the first time I heard that question. I said, "Yeah, I like trains, but what does that have to do with math and science?" So I had
right.
to learn what this thing engineering was all about, and so I ended up picking that and. I was actually in the first at the engineering class where having a personal computer was mandatory. So I was the first class where that computer was made mandatory. Yes, I'm showing my age. And at first I thought I knew they were up and coming and it would be all the rage. So I was thinking, maybe electrical engineering. I'd like to learn how to build computers. I ended up going to Queen's University, and the first year of engineering was generic. And that was the best accident that's ever I've ever has ever beheld me, because I quickly learned that in the world of university engineering, computers and electrical engineering was all math and modeling. And although I was good at math, they take math to a whole new level, and I didn't like it quite so much.
Hmm.
So, yeah, we went a different route. And then in first job out of school, got a taste of a couple of different types of roles, and I realized that I like working with people more than I like working with computers. So that started me down the product management and product marketing route. And yeah, the technical background and aptitude allowed me to solve problems, and I thought differently than maybe others in those roles. And I found I had a knack for um, working with people and translating technical topics into easy to understand language. And that's served me well all the way through.
That's amazing. It's amazing. You and I spoke ahead of this call, and one of the things you said was that the CSO, when you get into chief security officer, that it's a leadership role and it's not a technical role. And I really love that. I love the idea that CSO is people based, it's also sales based, and customer service is the common thread. And that just struck me as like, well, we think of chief security officer as, somebody high in a tower or in their very sterile office, focused on their computers. And you really are focused on people. Can you just kind of describe, I don't know if we've jumped from where you were to the Mitel days at this point, but I just like describe that. Like, how did you go, you know what? I am better with people than I am with computers. Computers are great. I can translate them and dot, 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 right?
Yeah, yeah. No, absolutely. Yeah. And yeah, it's like if in my journey I've done sales, I've done marketing, I've done product management, I've done operations, I've done delivery. So yeah, yeah, on one hand, I'm a jack of all trades and a master of none, but on the other side, I've also seen the business from every single possible angle. I haven't been in finance or accounting yet, and I probably never will. But I've had P&L responsibilities, right? So yeah, I get that financial flavor. And I think that the origins of the CISO, of the head of security, definitely was a technical-minded individual. It was somebody that knew the security architecture and the IT infrastructure better than anyone else. They could architect things in their mind on the fly. They knew what they wanted to do to protect things. And that's also, I think, been one of the largest traits that have helped to keep this role or function more in the yeah, off to the side in the realm of the unknown. Because to me, every IT and every security project is going to help the bottom line. It's either going to reduce risk, reduce cost, make things more efficient, or support the business on the sales side, right? So IT and security projects help to make things easier, help to make them better, help them to make them safer. And if you aren't able to translate the technology into the business benefit or the business value, then you often get left out of the conversation with the board or with the CEO and the executive leadership team, because the conversations there are all around profit and loss. Right? They're all around EBITDA, they're all around margins, and they're all around time to market. Um, and if you can't support, in my mind, if you can't support those goals and objectives, or if you can't effectively communicate how you support those goals and objectives, then the CEO doesn't have the 30 seconds for you that you need in order to get the budget or the funding or the approval to move forward in whatever instance. So yeah, so I think that even though I've taken a rather winding road, circuitous route, I've picked up knowledge and experience along the way that really helps to benefit the role of security at Mitel.
Um, I would say so. You touched on something, actually, you emphasized it. I'm gonna simplify it, which is, can you answer the WIFM right away, right? That's the what's in it for me,
Yeah,
right? And that's almost like a parenting tip in some ways too. It's like, look, kids want and they want and they want.
yeah,
And the chief executive officers, the executive team, they want to know that there's a benefit when you come with an ask.
right,
And so you've got to not just go, hey, I have an idea. It's like, no, I've thought this idea through. Here's why we need it. Here's what it takes. I think that's amazing. You in one of our conversations earlier, you had said that success is easy. Project success is easy. And that's a pretty bold statement. So I'd love for you to kind of dive in there a little bit. Like, project success is easy. Really? Because like, how many of them fail and how many of them are successful, and what
yeah.
makes it easy for you?
Oh, geez. Uh, yeah, I'm hearing you say that and go, wow, did I really say that? And I think I think what I meant is yes. I mean, on the surface, projects, the project management, the organization, that part is really straightforward. And I actually did a survey on my own in support of a talk that I gave around. Um, uh, the the success or failure of IT projects, and the stats, the research that I did actually showed that only depending on how you count them, 17% of projects are successful. So off the top,
That
it's
that by the way, I just wanted to emphasize that by the way actually matches the statistic I've seen.
okay. And success usually means, I think for this criteria for these studies is you set your budget, you set your timelines, and none of that changes, and you've got a successful delivery within the original time set. And so if for these purposes of those stats, I think that as soon as you've got a delay or as soon as you've got a cost overrun, then that's a negative hit on success. And so what I mean by that, I think the harder part is how do you get approval for the project in the first place? And can you organize it? Can you communicate the value to get the budget and the buy-in and the resources in order to deliver it? And then you also have to look at it from the other information that I got back when I was doing the research was the more complex the project, yeah, Captain Obvious maybe, the more complex the project, the more likely it is to fail. And I think sometimes your eyes are bigger than your plate, right? You want to do everything, right? And you want to do everything all at once.
Mhm.
Um, but I think it's more beneficial for the project team. The state of the project is to divide that up into smaller bite-sized pieces, right? I mean, if you look at the R&D and the project management side, that's kind of why they started with waterfall and big projects, and then they've slowly moved and moved and moved, and now it's called agile, so that they can do small tasks, small deliverables, modify or adapt on the fly, and keep going. And so defining the projects in stages that are bite size and put them together in sort of logical steps so that you can show value very quickly. I think that's the most important piece, right? If
That's
you've got a
great.
project that may take 3 years, that's fine. But what are you going to show me in 6 months? Or what are you going to be able to show me in 3 months? And the more you can do that, then the more support you'll gain for the project because you've got visible evidence of benefits along the way.
That's great. What you said IJA, is that what you
Agile.
Oh, agile. I
Yeah.
misheard you. Okay.
Sorry. Yeah, yeah, yeah.
No, that's
It's my
great.
Canadian accent.
It's my Californian ears. It's all good. Yes, so agility is everything, right? Your ability to pivot and move quickly. Um, when I work with organizations and they're facing massive projects, you said divide into bite-sized pieces. I call it chunking it down, right? So this chunk goes to this team, this chunk goes to this team, and you're managing when each chunk, and then per chunk there are bite-sized pieces.
Mhm.
Right. So each team goes, oh, we've got this, and we'll do that. And hopefully, if you've managed it correctly, the timing is that there's that integration, or the dependencies that are one team is counting on have been fulfilled so that the second team can come in.
That's right.
Um,
That's right. Yeah. Yeah. Engineering reference. And I love this picture. I build it into talks every once in a while because the way you build a bridge traditionally is you start with the foundations on either side of the river, and then you hope that the bridge lines up once it comes to the middle, right?
right.
But yeah, exactly. But so the trick is making sure that everybody's coordinated enough so that when you put the puzzle pieces and the chunks together, that they actually meet in the middle.
That's great. Wow. Um, So you've run uh like within organizations, you've run organizations, you've worked with companies that are startups, you've worked with organizations that have 100,000 plus in them.
Yeah.
What's been the biggest difference for you in terms of leadership, in terms of team management, in terms of seeing projects through from start to finish?
Oh wow. That's yeah, that's a wonderful question. I think that yeah. So you're right. I've been employee 19 three times in my life. Coincidentally, it's yeah. So actually,
It's
I
like
should.
a bad sci-fi film, it's like
Well, yeah,
employee
yeah, yeah.
19, step up.
Yeah,
Right.
I keep on forgetting to get lottery tickets with 19 in them. But yeah, and then I've also worked for Bell Canada, and even Mitel has got 5,000 employees worldwide right now. So I've yeah, so I've worked on both sides of the coin. And the projects themselves are very similar, right? It's in both cases, you've got internal projects that are needed in order to ultimately win and keep customers. And the biggest difference is scale, right? Even in large companies, I mean, everyone has budget pressure, but it's extremely noticeable in small organizations. And the smaller the organization, there's like I've said it to others, there's no place to hide. If you're in a company of 20 or 30 people, you can't hide behind somebody else, or you can't hide in a team. Everybody's contribution is evident, or their lack of contribution is also evident, right? And the other thing I think with smaller companies is the broader experience that someone has or is willing to take on is vital for smaller teams. Like there was actually one of the best projects and experiences that I had was one of these opportunities where I walked in, I was employee 19. I helped them win a large managed service contract for the Canadian government. And I own the pen. I held the pen on the response, so I put the RFP response together. We won in the face of large behemoths like IBM, CGI, Bell, Bell Canada. And then I ran the implementation team, and then I transitioned and ran operations. Whereas in a large company, I would own part of the RFP response, and that's it. Whereas in a smaller company, you kind of, hey, you look around, who can do this? And Oh, I guess I'm doing this. Okay. So you end up needing to be a lot more versatile, and you get a lot, in my mind, larger breadth of opportunity because you can see the process from beginning to end. Whereas in the larger company, just for scale, size of scale, you end up specializing in one part of the process. And you don't necessarily get to see the big picture or what the ultimate goal is, right? So it's like the assembly line. My job is putting this bolt onto this screw, and then I have to do it 1,000 times a day and keep up. And
It's a really important call out, actually. The difference between in a small team, you've got responsibility almost for the entire project, and every team member has responsibility for the entire project working together. And on
right,
a larger team, it is you're responsible for this thing on this thing. Do it
yeah,
again and again. And one of the things that I believe is really important, in my world, I talk about values, vision, and vitality.
mm,
And right, so everybody's values need to be aligned. And who is it to say what the values of the company are? The leader, the leadership, right? And so that needs to be put out there. And then it's put out through the vision. This is where we're heading. And the vitality I talk about is the way you embody it, right?
mhm.
So you said this is your vision. How are you showing up? And are you
That's right.
catching your team members living into that vision, even if it is taking this thing and putting it on that thing, right?
That's right.
And time again.
You know you are bigger than the life you are leading. It really is time to attend to that thing you've wanted to do or have, but you've been putting off. It's time to step into that dream you've parked for someday. It's time to claim true well being, both personally and professionally, without giving up the success that got you here. It's time to check out Dr. Pernell's signature small group retreat, the Exponential Success Summit. Explore exponentialsuccesssummit.com. Seats are extremely limited as this is a very special small group event. www.exponentialsuccesssummit.com.
And I think that that's a leadership lesson here is that maybe it's specifically the bigger the team, the more important that leadership statement of what you're doing matters because you said, right, the final outcome is missed very often. So, right, keeping that in front of people, I think that's so important. What you're doing affects our end user
Yeah.
dramatically. And so your job is really important.
Yeah, exactly. And I would even argue that I think the third V was you said vitality, I think.
Yeah.
How do you envision or embody the value and the vision, right? I'd almost argue that that's probably the most important of the three. Yes, you should have it written down and you should have it communicated so that everybody's standard is, but if you don't reflect that message in your daily actions, then it doesn't matter what you have written on the board or in the front lobby, right? And
Right, Bill. Bill, that's where trust lives, right? I
right,
mean,
yeah,
you could say you believe in one thing, but if you're showing up and doing something different, and I think probably every one of us, you and I, and all of our audience members have experienced that in an organization somewhere where the leader says, "Well, do it this way. This is the way we do things," and then the leader turns around and does things opposite. It's like, now we can't trust
exactly.
you, right?
Yeah,
So you've
and
got
in
to,
this project, you just and you say, is that vision there? It was like a 25, $27 million contract, managed service, multi-year managed service contract that we won. And for a small company, as I said, I was employee 19. That was huge. And so even if we were doing something small, like writing a policy or a procedure that by which the service was going to be governed, you knew it was a requirement. And once you had it done, then it was a checklist towards that $27 million contract, right? And you could see the longevity. And so there was definitely a common purpose. And Um, and who I've met one person in my life that actually likes writing policies and procedures, and I'd hire him again again in an instant because that's rare. So even if you don't like it, you know why you're doing it, right? And so understanding why is I think it's important, right? So
Yeah. I use the analogy of, you might love your puppy, but there's also stuff to clean up after your puppy, and that's part of puppy ownership, right?
yeah,
So, if you're going after a $27 million contract and you've won that contract and now you are fulfilling it, some
yeah,
parts are going to be great and other parts are going to be mm,
tolerable.
tedious, tolerable. Yeah, all of those things. Can you bring us to the present
Sure.
and describe a day in the life, right? Here's a day in the life of Bill Dunnion, the
Oh wow.
right? It's like I don't think there's a typical day, but there are certain
No.
similarities that happen. You get
Oh
up, you have your
geez.
cup of coffee. No, yeah, just like
Yeah, no,
what is it
fair.
at Mitel for you?
Yeah, fair enough. Fair enough. Geez, there's so many ways that this one can go, right? I mean, the whole COVID work from home piece, and yeah, but still. So let me say the typical day. I think that the hardest part about a typical day is keeping balance, because you can definitely get absorbed. I'll pick on email for just because it's easy to pick on. You can get absorbed on your inbox, and all of a sudden the world gets shut out, and next thing you know, it's dinner time, and you don't know what you've done for the day. So I think the hardest part is getting balance because I need to spend time with the team. There's no shortage of alerts and events that are coming in that the team has to work through and triage and determine, hey, is this real? And if it's real, what's the risk? How important is it? Um, the often so the part that gets put to the side or left to the end, and then regrettably delayed, it ends up being the strategic thinking piece, right? And because there's always going to be someone yelling on a deadline, and of course you have to take care of the deadlines. I had a boss once that took a thought away from a conference or a workshop that she was on, and so back in the days when we had our offices and everyone went in, she had this big fish on her desk. And I go, all right, so what's the story with the fish? And she goes, well, I was at this conference, and it's a visual reminder to make sure that you don't forget to think about the big fish. And so, what are the big projects? What are the goals? What's the strategic vision for the group or for the program or the company? Because you can get so bogged down in the minutia that you don't have time yet to work on the things that really matter. And like the 80/20 rule comes into play, I think, in everything, right? And so 80% of your time is going to be consumed with like 20% of the value. So how do you turn it around, right? So how do you make time to work on the 20% of activities that are actually going to give you 80% of the return or the recognition or the progress? And so some of it's time management, some of it's priority management. But yeah, so typical day, tons of emails, tons of alerts, and hopefully it doesn't include a major incident that throws your plans into the toilet and creates an all hands on deck situation. So
I think we can all relate to the tons of emails and
yeah,
what I would call firefighting.
yeah,
Oh, this has come up. Now I need to divert my attention here. Oh, this has come up. Like I'm working on a project. Now I
yeah,
have to go over here. Do you have decision-making advice? Like how do you like you called it strategic thinking, which I love because I would call it critical thinking. And they go hand in hand.
yeah.
How do you triage relative importance? for
Very
yourself for
true.
the day? Like, it's a tough question because
No, it is. And I think a lot of it gets developed intuitively over time. Yeah, no, I think about reaching up and touching a hot stove, or hey doctor, it hurts when I do this, and the advice is, well,
don't do this, right? Yeah.
don't do this. Yeah, exactly. So I think that I'm going to say the biggest thing is if you have that sort of vision or prioritization done ahead of time, right? Then you've got a measuring stick that you can use against everything else that comes in. What are all, right? So not all emergencies are created equal. And I remember this little cartoon saying that someone had on at their desk. Uh, Poor planning on your part does not make does not account for an emergency on mine.
I
Um,
actually had that on my desk when I was doing organization development. Failure to plan on your part does not constitute a crisis on mine.
there you go.
Yeah.
And yeah, and so, but I mean,
It
that
didn't stop
said,
me, by the way, I will parentheses after that, which is it doesn't stop me from helping you. It's just don't make it my crisis, right? Like,
yeah,
yes, I'm going to
exactly.
help you, but come on.
Yeah.
Right?
If I can do it by 3 o'clock, I will. But if I can't, you don't shoot the messenger, right? And
Yeah.
exactly, exactly. So yeah, so not everything is created equal. And but if you have that priority list, if you know what those big fish are, if you know what the potential risk is for each of these items that come up, then it helps you to kind of categorize it. Is it something that one I have to do? Two, do I have to do it now? Three, is it something that the team can do and be pushed down or can it be kept in the loop, right? So I think that yeah. So, but if you don't have that measuring, that if you don't have that scale in your own mind ahead of time, then it makes it a lot harder to get those answers or to deal with things effectively or efficiently.
I think that's uh, you said that so well. Seriously, the idea of pre-prioritization, like it's not a crisis if it doesn't meet this threshold. You didn't say it quite that way, but that's really what you've said is it's got to meet a certain number of criteria before it'll get really a lot of my attention. It's like parenting. Is a bone sticking out? Like, hmm,
Yeah, yeah, yeah,
hmm.
yeah,
I'm
yeah.
gonna pause or I'll mute myself while I cough here. So, yeah,
Yeah,
I like it. Do I have to do it? And with the emphasis on I, is it me? Is it a me problem? Do I have to do it? Do I have to
yeah,
do it now?
yeah.
And can the team take it? I love that. I love that.
Yeah, yeah, actually, and maybe it's even a potential segue. So just the last call I took before we started talking, I have been asked to run a panel at a trade show here coming up in a couple of weeks. And I've been working with with communicating with this one lady that I'd really love to have on the panel. And the questions that were coming back made her seem hesitant. So I knew there was something else behind the scene, right? And so we finally had a live conversation, and she was able to explain, well, I'm getting all of these invites, and my team is feeling left out. So I was thinking about maybe delegating, and I was thinking, oh, that's wonderful. Well, I've got all these other opportunities. How about I keep you for the panel, and then I'd be happy to bring your team in on A, B, C, or D, right? So, but and the reason why that made me think about this is delegation shouldn't be a sign of weakness because the team it does wonderful things. It increases your capacity as a group. It shows confidence, and I think that the team, if you've got the right team, should be hungry to take tasks like this or like that are assigned. It's like hey, I could do this, but you know what? I want you to run with it. Can you do that for me and report back or keep me copied on the communications? And so I think that being able, yeah, delegating shouldn't be seen as or felt like a bit of a sign of weakness. Even if you're able to do it in 30 minutes and it may take your team member 60, it
Yes,
doesn't matter, right? It still can be beneficial all the way around.
absolutely. That's how you grow a team. And, I've worked with organizations where they say they have values of growth, and yet there's hoarding.
Yeah,
I'll just do it. I'll just do it. And it's going to take them forever. It's like,
yeah,
it
yeah,
might take
exactly.
them forever the first time. It might take them half of forever the second time. And pretty soon, like, give them a chance, right? So,
Yeah,
and I love the idea that the leader that you just described also, she recognized that her team was a big part of who she was, her success. And I think that's great to be able to call that out. Nobody succeeds alone. And that's a really important leadership lesson as well.
yeah, yeah. So,
Do
um,
you want to talk a little bit about what Mitel does, how it integrates and who accesses it?
yeah, sure.
It's kind of a, a, a mini infomercial, but it's also really interesting because not many of us have access to kind of behind the scenes at a security organization.
Well, yeah. So Mitel is actually it's a 52-year-old company. Started and founded in Ottawa. Headquarters have moved around over the years, and I think they're currently back in Ottawa. Uh, but what we do is enterprise telephone systems, and so yes, phones are still a thing in some industries and sectors more needed than others. If you think about hospitality, there's still a phone pretty much in every hotel room. So these are the types of systems that manage and run and operate those phones. Education, large phone users, call centers still, of course. And so Mitel, over the 52-year history, even has been a consolidator as opposed to a consolidatee. So we've been acquiring other phone manufacturers and phone equipment providers over the years. And so now Mitel is either number one or two in the global marketplace, depending on sector, for the unified communications market. So we do hybrid telephony. We're about 5,000 employees worldwide. We've got over 70 million users over that lifespan. So yeah, so we're a global telecommunications player focused on enterprise communications. And
Amazing.
if you were watching the World Series, I think maybe a couple of your viewers might have watched it. In the Toronto dugout, you'd see the Mitel logo in the dugout in the bullpen phone when they went back and they and they were calling to see if the pitcher was ready. There was a little Mitel phone logo or whatever right there in the
Yeah.
bullpen.
Oh, that's great. That's great. Um, cool. So if people have questions about what you do or want to reach out to you, are you open to LinkedIn connection or?
Absolutely. Yeah, no, absolutely. And I think so what I do in my, I'll call it my spare time. 8 years ago, I started up a cybersecurity meetup group. So I love to give back to the community. And that's also spun off to, for the last 7 years, a 2-day security trade show based here in Ottawa. So yeah, so I definitely value anybody that helped me along the way. And I've remembered that, and part of the whole pay it forward things is I try to give back to the community. So absolutely, I'd be open to questions, comments, advice. Yeah, I figure conversations are conversations are cheap, and you never know where they're going to lead. Some of the best jobs I've ended up having started with an impromptu conversation that would have been easy to have said no to. Sometimes saying yes is a harder decision to make, but quite often it can be the more rewarding of the two choices.
And that, by the way, was a huge leadership nugget as well. It's easy to just go, no, no, I don't think so. I'll pass on that. And you say yes, and you create a new relationship that creates other relationships. And pretty
That's it.
soon you've got a network that you didn't know you even could step into. So that's amazing. That's really great. So for people to find you, it's not fancy William, it's Bill Dunnion, Dunnion,
That's
Bill
right.
Dunnion
And
at LinkedIn.
yeah, and if you see a Dunnion in LinkedIn in Canada, I can guarantee you that it's part of my family. So it's one of those little trivia things that I don't post on LinkedIn. Yeah, we're the only Dunnion family in Canada, which is pretty remarkable. So
That is remarkable. It's not like, yeah,
yeah, so
easy.
it'll either be one of my sisters or it'll be one of my kids, but there's only one family in Canada as far as I'm aware.
Okay, and for our audience, don't stalk his sisters or his kids. Just go for Bill Dunnion. Just
There
look
you
him
go.
up and make that connection. This has been great. I didn't know you did a cybersecurity meetup group. I think that's great. It's a beautiful invitation for people that are in that field.
Yeah.
That's great. Anything else that you wanted to cover that I didn't ask you about that you were hoping we'd hit, or anything else on your
Um,
way?
no, I just think that I'll leave you with a thought, and it's decision making advice that I still hang on to that I learned from my dad once upon a time. Is that when faced with a decision, he used to tell me, make the choice that leaves you with the most options. I've taken that advice to heart many times. So if I look to change jobs and it's I could do this one or I could do this one. All right, well, Dad says which one gives me the most options, and so all things created equal. That's a bit of advice that I've kept dear close to my heart, and it's served me well over the years. So I think that can apply in leadership. It can apply in life at home. It can apply all over the place. So
I apply that when I play Gin Rummy on my phone. So, it's like, right? Do I get a run? Do I get a set?
yeah,
But it's beautiful. What's your dad's first name?
Patrick.
So a tribute to Patrick Dunnion, make the choice that gives you the most options. I love that.
There you go.
I love that. It's a beautiful way to close this out. Love that. All right, Bill. Bill Dunnion has been my guest, and thank you for being here. Really appreciate it.
Well, Wayne, thank you very much. It was a sincere pleasure and
Yeah,
honor.
truly. All right, Bill Dunnion, Chief Information Security Officer at Mitel. You can find Bill Dunnion at LinkedIn or on LinkedIn. And this is, and continues to be one sharp sword cutting through to what matters most. Again, I'm Wayne Pernell, Dr. P, your host, guide, and coach on this journey. We will see you again here next time. Thanks for joining us.